Good evening, everyone. Episode number 58 of So What's Been Happening. When Friday night, the 3rd of September, we're up to show 58. Boy, it's moving along pretty quickly now. Sadly, we got some further crappy news again this week. 3 more weeks of torture before we even think about coming out of this. So that's not what we wanted to hear. So I put a little bit of sound in there for which brings back some good memories of the old gelati truck during summer, and that used to roll around the streets of Melbourne, and it was a good feeling. It put a smile on your face. You run out and stole a couple of 20-cent pieces out of Mum's purse and got yourself a nice ice cream that melted 5 seconds before it got into your mouth. I was more a gelati man. Let's see what this guy was into. How are you, cuz?
Hello, mate. How are you, buddy? Mate, I like gelati.
Gelati's your go.
Mate, I love the traditional ice cream, mate, like the old 2-scooper, choc mint, mate. Cannot go wrong.
Righto. Hold that thought. Lovey, welcome back, mate. What was your ice cream of choice, mate, from the old gelati trucks?
Tell you what, mate, that whole vanilla single cone thing with the flake in the side.
Yep.
I inhaled that, and I always figured to myself, well, there's no point talking about it. If it's starting to melt a bit, guess what? Eat it whole. And I reckon the quickest I ever ate one was 13 seconds. Just slammed it in.
Sounds like you're issuing another challenge, mate. But were you a choc top man as well, mate? Did it
always up for doing something dumb and stupid while we're locked down like this shit. Yeah, I didn't mind the old choc top. It made it a bit harder to break the records, but the chocolate was good. It was actually really good chocolate. Given the dirty hands it used to feed it to you all the time, the chocolate was actually all right. So
I think that's the secret. If you melt it down 20 times, heat it up, cool it down, heat it up, cool it down. It probably never goes old, the old chocolate. So
no use by that.
No,
I used
exactly.
to abuse that. I used to abuse back at home. I used to abuse that chocolate that went hard real quick.
Or
what that was called?
Ice Magic.
Ice Magic.
Yeah, I mean, never trust anything in a tube, but I used to worry. I used to wonder as a 6-year-old. I used to go, if I put it like that straight down in there, would it go hard in my throat? That was always the question. I thought didn't happen. What a load of shit.
Yes,
yes. One of my mates got kicked out of Sizzler one night because he thought it'd be a good idea to go and put his head under the ice cream thing.
Nice one.
I love it.
And the best thing was the bloke didn't see him do it, but he's walking away, wiping his mouth. He goes, mate, what's going on
here?
All
over his shirt.
Quick shout out to a good friend of ours from Canada, Robert Wines, jumped on. He's awesome. He's up at 6 a.m. in the morning in Canada, and he's remembered. Mate, he's got an incredible memory for a guy that's got a brain injury and sometimes struggles to remember. So he remembers better than I do, mate. I forgot we even had a show tonight. So I remembered about 10 minutes ago after already putting it together today. So it's crazy, isn't it? What's happening to our brains during this lockdown phase where it's definitely a challenge.
I sometimes feel like it's more what's not happening to our brain that needs to happen.
Yeah, a bit of stimulation, yes, for sure.
We might have to get a new logo organised. So what's not happening at the moment?
That a whole new podcast.
Yeah.
The big empty brain.
And just at the end of our last show, Lovey, you gave us a little tour of the Love Shack there, and that heater in the background. It's a little bit fresh tonight, mate. Is that heater working well?
Yeah, you know what? I figured it was still 24 yesterday afternoon. It was still 20 something this morning.
It was.
I actually still have a couple of windows open. I've got nice thick curtains, so no, that amazing rat-powered gas heater won't be coming on tonight, I don't think, but it might come on tomorrow night if it continues this sort of crappy weather too.
Yes.
Mate, what about? Have you got a fridge yet, mate?
I have, mate.
Oh, good to hear.
I have. I mean, I know we're live on a podcast, and it's great. I think I'd like to, maybe one day we'll go inside my fridge. Would you like that too, Cuz?
just dedicate a show to it, mate. That'd be magic.
There's no ice magic in there, if that's what you're wondering. There's no ice cream. So
I think it was a couple episodes ago. A couple episodes ago, we had a little tour of Cuz's fridge that was behind him that he had nothing in as well. So, yeah, it's one of those days, one of those nights.
It's like his personality, mate.
Thank you very much. What is it? Crayfish.
Yeah. Show 58, boys. Can you come up with a special 58? Have you thought about this one, given that it was going to be show 57, but now it's 58?
Johnny Howard.
What?
Johnny Howard from Melbourne. We're number 58.
I thought you were going to say that's how old John Howard was when he became Prime Minister. Well, there you go. No, I can't think. I'm starting to get to that point where I'm combining two players, like 5 and 8 again. I don't know. 58. I haven't got a cracker. There's not exactly. There's no Hall of Fame reserves players. I'll
take that one, and I can almost guarantee you I know who your 5 and 8 is going to be. But give me your 5 and 8 then.
I'll go different to what I would have selected last. I probably wasn't on the show at 5 and 8. I think we debated this. I was on show 9. My 5 and 8. Sorry, TD, but it is Jimmy Hurd. And number 8, the late great, God rest his soul, Nobby Clark. Brilliant man.
What a star!
Brilliant man. Yeah, and just a very, very humble individual. Loved his family. All the rest of it. Just had issues like we all have, and couldn't deal with them, unfortunately. And yeah, loved it. Loved him. Loved what he did with the club after it finished playing. Like, he was Sheets' runner for a decade. They brought him back into the club because of the issues he was facing, and they knew how he was travelling for a long, long time. So, people that bag footy clubs every now and again, yeah, valid in some respects, but tell you what, it's like a second family. So, really good. Nobby Clark for me.
Righto. We'll talk about that in a second, a little bit deeper into the footy club and what footy clubs mean. But, Cuz, give me your I take it you haven't got a 58, so give me a 5 and an 8.
No, 58, Johnny Howard from Melbourne.
No, a better one than that.
So what's your 58, mate?
I'll go with I haven't got a 58, but I've got a 5 and an 8, which is the next question I did ask you.
So 5 and 8, or I'll go. Love Hurdy, but TD was an absolute star. Terry Denner.
Yep.
Number 8, I'm showing my age here. Father of Brodie Mychek, Jack Mychek.
Nice
the
one.
fiery redhead played for Essendon in the 70s.
That's right, yeah.
Bit of a loose cannon with Jack.
Couldn't we get him under father-son? How many games did he play for Essendon?
I think they were concerned that Brodie had his dad's mental stability.
Yeah.
I thought I might have got a bit of Darren Buick out of you boys.
Yeah, well, actually, I thought Cuz would, given his hair tonight, but and that'll all be displayed later on. But I thought that might have been a bit of a link that Cuz could have made tonight. But anyway,
no, he's a bit slow on the uptake there, Cuz. I gave you the Darren Buick call, but we might rename you tonight. So I'll go with. I'll go. Yeah, exactly. It's standard on each show, mate. We've got to give you a name for each show. So my famous number 5 of the Demons was obviously the great David Swartz, who was a superstar of the club, just incredibly unlucky. And geez, he made the most out of his career, even though he had, I think it was 3 knee recos in the end, or maybe even 4. Like, it was a terribly sad career. But talk about all the issues and trials and tribulations he had. Boy, hasn't he turned it around and become a media superstar again. So fantastic news. And he'll appear on Russell Robinson's live chat that they're going to do tomorrow night. So if you want to catch up on what their Big Ox is up to, it'll be on his Facebook Live. And obviously my favourite number 8 was a massive fan of the great Graham Yates. I was a big Yater fan. I can tell you honestly, there wasn't too many people that had number 8 jerseys as a kid in the stands watching. But I can tell you, he was the first guy, as I walked down to training as a kid, he was the first guy that said, "Come here, mate. Come here. Come on. I'll introduce you to a few of the boys." And I'll never, ever forget that. And we became good mates over time. And he's a legend of the footy club. So he's coached footy and still around footy, which is even better. So
where is he now, mate? Where is he now? Just out of curiosity, whereabouts is he involved now? Bush or Metro?
It was Bush for a while. I'm pretty sure it's. Yeah. I haven't seen the latest. He was VFL for a while, and then he was out one of the Eastern clubs. So he's getting around a little bit still. We're all getting to that phase where father and sons and everything else are all starting to come up. So let's touch on. I haven't got too many 58s. Obviously, that was a stretch trying to find 58s, but
we're going US and UK sports again.
Oh, you can almost guarantee that 99% of them are gridiron or NFL related. So here we go. This won't take long. I even had to double up on a couple there by the look of it. Not too many 58s. I didn't spend a heap of time on it.
Love their 58s.
I sure do. It's been a bit of a famous number for them. But all right, on a quick chat about the footy. A couple of games, or one game tonight, one game Saturday, pretty sure. But a little bit disappointing on your Bombers. And let's bring up one of our other good mates that's is becoming a fantastic regular on this podcast, which we're really enjoying spending some time with this great man. He started as a little musical step in a couple of spots, and it's become a few different episodes. And I always remember Dave at school being a very, very funny man that always made us smile, mate. And talk about if we ever needed a night where we needed a smile, I think we might have a bloke might have jumped ship. Away, mate.
It's a grand old flag. It's a high-flying flag.
On the wagon.
It's the emblem for me and for you. It's the emblem of the team we love, the team of the red and the blue.
Beautiful, mate. Love it. Welcome aboard, mate. Welcome aboard. Get on the wagon.
I'm on the wagon, buddy.
Which Range Rover did you take that out of?
I've got my ticket and I'm on the wagon, buddy. I'm on the wagon. I love the fact that the last time they won the grand final, the Beatles were touring the country. So I'm in. Any Beatles connection, I'm in.
My dad, Dave, he went and saw the Beatles at Festival Hall, sat in the first row.
Wow.
The girl he took that night, she wore glasses. She dropped her glasses in the second song, and Dan spent most of the night on the floor trying to find her glasses.
Oh, unbelievable.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, that's what I sort of said. Mate, are you kidding?
Wow. And they were only on for like 20 minutes. So,
he reckons they played for 27 minutes.
Yeah, there you go.
You've been cursed ever since?
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
Well, the demons have. The
demons have, yeah, for sure.
Nah, I'd love to see them get up. I think it's down to who it's down to, and I'd like to see them go all the way. I think it'd be well deserved after many years and a lot of ups and downs, more downs than ups, and yeah, it'd be good to see them. Good to see them win. How you boys going? Listening in, I'm enjoying it.
We're hanging in there, mate. We're hanging in there after the bad news.
Mate, It was obviously not a great day for the Bombers last week, but it's fantastic as I'm watching at halftime. They're putting up people who are putting up their little things on Instagram or whatever. And I saw the great Dave Cosma come up on the big screen.
I know. Well, I was just chilling out, and I knew something happened when I got literally about 30 text messages in less than a minute. I'm thinking, what's going on here? Because I was watching the Foxtel coverage.
We thought Coppers were at the front.
And I look all that. So yeah, no, that was a bit of fun. So I never got no one was able to send me footage of it. Having said that, I know what it looks like, and yeah, a bit of fun. It's good to see that it got a little bit of brought a little bit of happiness.
They didn't mention the great man though, the dictator. Just your smiling face.
I heard it was heavily edited. It was heavily edited. So, but no, look, it was good up until sort of 3/4 time. I don't know. I thought we were sort of in it at that point still, but who knows? Under the roof, in better conditions, we might have played a bit differently. That's an anomaly of our game. That there you go. You don't play in those conditions hardly ever, and then it happens on arguably the most important game in the club's history for many years. I think it had a really big effect on the end result. We got showed up in that area, not sort of handling the conditions as well, and a few calls went their way, and momentum swung, and they kind of did it a little bit easy in the end. So, but we've got that fallback of we've had a really good. Everyone sort of said going into it, if we don't win, we're happy we've had a really good season and come this far. There seems to be something there that we can build on. So looking forward to next year, really.
Yeah, you other boys have got to be happy. Got to be happy with where you got to. Cuz you totally wrote them off. They were never making finals. Then you didn't pick them to win the final. So in the end, mate, you were right. But you didn't give them a chance at all. Lovey, obviously, you said of course you wanted to play finals, like Dave was. Very happy to play at least a final, and I think puts them in a great position to start to continue to build. What's your thoughts, Lovey?
Just a lot of lessons learnt, really. People keep forgetting. The Dogs had a Norton 3 streak going in, and that's not ideal. And I still think that's cost them a chance of playing at least in the grand final. But I still think you need to respect the fact that they've got the best player in the competition. They've got one of the best coaches in the competition. They've played 4 of the last 6 years in finals, including a premiership. So we're up against that. You add the elements that lend to a more experienced body overall. So, over the football and wet weather, I know who I'm backing in 9 times out of 10 in terms of just body size and the way they play the game. And they were just a bit cleaner, as you'd expect blokes with the average age and experience that they were. They were just cleaner. They were better. Yes, my mobile phone nearly copped it at least 3 times because of Cody Waitman's free kicks. But, look, next year, who knows? Next year we might get the rub of the green in a prelim final or whatever. It is what it is. And I said at the start of the year, I didn't think we'd win more than 5 games. I just wanted to make sure that we gave Ben Rutten a good chance to start his career as a coach and maybe win a few and develop a few players to get where we got to. Jeez, it's brilliant. I'm wrapped. And I really hope next year in the pre-season we, like Dave said, we just consolidate that spot and go further. I think that's got to be an expectation. It's like you change your goals in business and life, and I think they change their goals now.
Yep. What do you think the Bombers should chase? Just to finish on the Bombers, what do you think they should chase next? What are they missing?
Key forward.
I think we need a key forward. I think Harrison Jones is going to be that good link-up player, but you can't put too much on a kid too early. Like I think he's shown great potential, but I think we lack. If you look at, say, Jesse Hogan's game last week against Sydney, just that big crash and bash forward. Charlie Dixon does it as well. They mightn't take a mark, but they crash a pack, ball to the ground, then let your smalls do their work.
But you look at, I agree. I think Peter Wright will learn a lot from last weekend in wet weather and the rest of it. So I think he needs to get to more contests. He will. He's better for the run. Had a great year actually. For me, you look at the Demons, you look at the Cats, you look at the teams that score heavily. They've got 2 to 3 6'5" plus forwards, right? So we do need another one of those. Harry Jones will be that guy in 3 years' time.
Yeah.
He's not going to be that. I agree, Cuz. I think
Yeah.
you keep him high up the ground. You can run and flow until he builds into his body and grows into it. Then he will be that 6'4", 5" dominant key forward that we would hope comes to fruition.
They've done pretty.
I think we need to get a stopgap.
Yeah.
Second, third, tall forward.
Yeah.
That way, it doesn't mean that Stringer has to also do too much work as well.
That's right. And when you think about it, they did pretty good this year in terms of Hooker being that key forward for a fair stretch of the season, and then adjusting without him and sort of making it work. So absolutely, that big body 2, 3 would be amazing. And also an informed tipper or an informed small forward, a Fantasia that proved it last week. That we don't have that consistent crumbing forward that old mate Charlie there at Brisbane, and there's plenty of them that go around. That
imagine if we had a Cody Waitman floating around last week as well.
You know what I mean? So, and we have those players that pop up every now and then and do a cameo, but it's having that consistent overall unit that's humming. And we did good. We did good to where we got to with a pretty consistent unit that was just conking out a little bit. You know what I mean? The great teams can carry it through, and they got good players in the wings that can step up and cover if need to. So, yeah, once we get a fit team and some key positions filled, we go that next step.
The key stat for me was we had the 6th best percentage in the competition, despite being 11 and 11.
Exactly.
So we can score heavily anyway. We can score well. It's just a case of getting that extra 2 or 3 a game that then gives you the 115 percentage instead of 105.
Absolutely. There was five or 6 games this season that were decided within that 2-kick margin that would have had us in the top 6 easily, pushing top 4. So all of a sudden that shifts everything with the team. It shifts everything in terms of that building that culture that we spoke about and the motivation to want to succeed. You're not fighting every week and just losing and getting inspired but slightly demotivated. It's all that build.
I think the biggest thing I noticed from the players this year, and it's no disrespect to Worsfold, I think they seem to be, 1, playing for Rutten, but 2, there seems to be genuine enjoyment in the football they're playing.
Yeah.
They're enjoying the game style. They're enjoying the way they're going about it. And there seems to be quite a good camaraderie in the group. Yeah. The group seems quite close.
And it's weird that you say that. I mean, it feels weird to say that, right? Because, of course, when you're winning, you always enjoy your footy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we still enjoyed our footy all year, even though we had 11 losses.
Yep.
And for us, seeing the players enjoy their football at Essendon Footy Club, geez, it's been rare for 10 years. It's been rare. Yep. So, for us to see that was quite great. It was just great to see.
It was slightly, it hurt a bit when they lost, but I got over it pretty quick. I was like, I mean, we'd given up in that last quarter. You knew we weren't going to win. And I've moved on pretty quick. There have been losses in the past that have lingered longer, and this is a final that we lost, but we've come leaps and bounds. So you got to look at the positive.
Big picture.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I totally agree. I mean, I don't think you were embarrassed at all. I mean, of course, you put up a great fight for most of the game, and yeah, you're right. A couple of decisions had to go on either way, and who knows what could have happened. So I think it's a great season for the Bombers, and onwards and upwards from here. Get behind them as members, sign up again, and hopefully we can actually get to a game next year.
Yeah.
Boys.
Now, boys, I can tell you for Az, the lid is well and truly off for the Demons. He comes in to work the other day, he's having a coffee. Give him hell in his coffee cup. Walks in to work today with the wind cheater on. Give him hell. So the lid's off, mate. There's no.
It was off.
No 1 week at a time. There's no just bang. It's how big's your oyster?
Secretly, it was off by round 6. Let's be honest. I mean, it was.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get this official.
Chops at round 6.
Let's take the lid off. All right. Let's officially take the lid off. So, look, I'm.
Off it comes.
I'm actually just pinching myself, to be perfectly honest, mate, that we're actually even in the finals, played a final, won a final, had a week off. Like, it's just unheard of. It's the best lead up we'll ever have. The boys have been enjoying a bit of golf and a few games.
2000 was a good lead up. You know, I know you haven't won a grand final since '64, but you've had some. You know, you've had some good build-ups. You would have felt this as a young kid in 2000 going, you bloody beauty, winning at these Bombers.
It's funny because we were playing really well up until then, but I don't think anyone wanted to play the Bombers, to be fair. The Bombers were a standout team in 2000, and I think everyone else kind of limped to the line, and we said, oh, we'll have a shot. Yeah. And it was well over by half-time, no doubt. Yeah. Especially when you blokes started the punch-ons. But that's another topic.
He just slid that across the table, just slid it in.
So, yeah, since 2000, you know, we've had a couple of episodes as far as rebuilds.
Yeah.
And a couple of finals thrown in there, but no real momentum coming into a real final series other than where we were in 18 and then got whacked pretty hard which has scarred us since over in the West. So
you've never had that. You've never had that. Even like the Saints that never won a granny, they had those. I don't know. Remind me, 4 or 5 years where they were just a really good competitive.
Good side.
You know, right up there all the time. Melbourne's never had. I don't recall them ever being. You sort of got there for a year and maybe, but it was never like a 4 or 5 year.
Yeah, you'd have to go back to the late 80s up to 1991. So 87 to 91 was a solid period for Melbourne.
Yeah, right.
Every year.
Yeah, right. That was like 4-year run.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, you're right there. Yep.
Do you guys ever play in the Barmy?
What was that?
Do you guys play consecutive finals on the Barmy? Consecutive finals years?
We did, but the issue, what happened a lot with Barmy and then Neil Danaher is we were up 1 year, down the next, up 1 year, down the next, which is not bad in respect of trying to build a list. You get your bottom out for only a year, get a couple of blokes, try and come up again, but we actually played above ourselves at different times and made finals, and then just missed finals in a few years. So that really hurt us. But you know, I'm still amazed that. You know, the talk out there now is I've never experienced an era being a Melbourne supporter of everyone actually thinking our players generally as a whole list. And when I've heard the words there's no weakness, and I'm thinking, mate, are you serious? Like, I feel there's still weaknesses in the team. We haven't won anything yet at the end of the day. But
you know where it is? Do you know where your weakness is?
I think it's converting forward personally. It's definitely. Yeah, there's 20% in the head for sure.
It's not your bloody hat, Lovey. It's not your hat. Your hat's a beauty, mate.
Oh, that
bag's the hat, mate.
That's not what I'm talking
about. I've put that hat through a heck of a lot in the last 6 months. It's stood up very, very well.
Yes.
Hey, tell me.
Strength. Yes, mate.
When you watch now as a Melbourne supporter, do you think though, like, can you see like? And I can relate this, and I've been to see what Dave and Lovey say from an Essendon point of view. I watch Essendon now, and I watch them in games, and I think they're starting to believe. Now, where we are to where you are is obviously a bit of a difference. I watched Melbourne the other day when they played that final the other night, and they thought, righto, Brisbane, you've given your best. Now we're going to put the foot on the gas and go to the next level where they are. And I think, not to put shit on you or anything, but I think they were a step ahead of the rest of the comp by a fair bit, to be totally honest.
Yeah,
have been for a while.
That's 2 games I've seen them do that. Obviously, we got whacked by Geelong for a small period there, and then we took that punch and then we went on with it. And we pretty much did the same thing with Brisbane. Brisbane were coming at us. They got within 20 points, I think it was. It started to get a little bit tight, and then we kind of pushed away and really put the hammer on again. So, yeah, that's obviously where you want to be. I don't want to get closer than 20 points. The old ticker starts to pack it in pretty quick. It's funny because ever since we've been travelling all right, I've watched a little bit more footy up close with family around me, and especially during this lockdown phase. And the only one that won't sit anyone anywhere near me now is the dog. The dog does the runner, and so I'm obviously getting swept up in the emotion of the game and yelling a little bit too loud. So the dog sits over in the corner and just stares at me the whole time. So. we need to get a bit of love for little Rubes. So obviously
Enjoy
the game
it,
tonight,
mate.
We'll talk about the Demons as we go into next week in the lead up.
What are the scores?
So the Cats have come out of the blocks pretty quickly. We're sitting
Wow.
at 17-3. So I hope you're not missing out on the game so far, boys. But 15 minutes into the second.
Yeah, so it's a high scoring match.
Yeah, well, it was 17-3 halfway through the first, I think it was. So it's not much has really happened in the second.
What are your thoughts on that, boys, about the lack of, in some games this year, in, I won't say pristine, but in quite good conditions, we've got like a 20-point score for the game, and we're halfway through the second quarter. What's going on? Or is that more the tightness of the situation, do you think?
I think it's defenses, great defenses, personally, and boys they're trying to feel it out a little bit, trying to hold the ball a little bit back, and if you go full on at the contest right from the start, forwards pushing further forward, the defenders are all picking it off now. So, and I think they're then able to run the ball out, and it's play between the two kind of middle 50,
football
as the game opens up.
That's footy, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the coaches worked all those new rules out halfway through the year. You're back to square one again anyway. For me, it's just fucking boring. Like, it's just the way that they coach now, nearly all of them, is just risk-averse, boring shit. And I think they've actually forgotten what they're actually meant to be there for. It's entertainment. Get the ball rolling. Kick scores, kick goals. This is garbage. I mean, I'm having quick glances, and I'll look at the score and go, well, I know I'm not missing anything. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
And if I wasn't on the podcast, I'd probably be looking at 7 mate. So,
yeah, exactly. And look, the game, when they show that aerial view of the ground, where like if it's up one end, everyone, the last person is center. Everyone's there. It's a game. It's such football is the modern game is such a running game, and I was just having the discussion the other night with my brother talking about again that footy where I feel blessed because we're old enough to remember what it was like for really 100 years. It evolved and it got quicker, but it was such a positional game. It was so important to have Bernie Quinlan in the goal square and Gary Wilson carrying the ball and Mickey Conlon as your ruck rover and Laurie Serafini as your designated full back. It was such a positional game that wasn't boring because, and that's why it was really important to have that amazing full forward or that amazing on-ball whoever it was, because it was such a positional game. Whereas now it's so compact and who's the fittest, who can run back the furthest, the quickest, and who can keep the ball off the other player quicker and better, you will win the game.
It's really funny. You go and watch those grid games half time at the AFL, and I swear I'm just watching the same thing.
It's all exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah, it's exactly right.
I think I'd rather watch a bit of the kids out there playing Auskick, to be perfectly honest. Action. There's always at least someone's trying to run through the lines at least. And that's one thing with Melbourne. I think they play some exciting running, fast, take the game on footy, and Port do that very similar. So I think that's why Melbourne and Port are sitting where they are right now.
Yeah.
Geelong, GWS, Brisbane, and Western Bulldogs, all they're playing, I believe, similar style games these days, especially during this phase coming into the finals now. So this could be 2 boring games, sadly. But I actually think after half time the game opens up a bit as blokes start getting a bit more tired, and hopefully we get a bit more scoring.
Yeah.
I'm going to find tomorrow night's game really intriguing.
Good segue, mate. Let's go into that.
Up at the Gabba, hey?
Good segue. Let's go into that for sure. Tell us about tomorrow night's game, mate, between the Lions and the Bulldogs.
I think the Lions got burnt last week. They just weren't as attacking as Melbourne. They tried. I think Brisbane is still quite an offensive team, but Hipwood down, McStay now down. I sort of can't help but think, Fages is going to have to try and rejig significantly forward of the footy what they do, which in the middle of a final series, you just don't want to have to try and do that. Look, to me, the Dogs were impressive last week. Their experience shone through. All that stuff was really good about them. But I'm still a bit cautious about them. You don't go into a game of football without a designated ruckman. I don't care what anyone says. You need a ruckman. And if they're not going to get first use of the football when you've got Zorko, Lyons, all those boys floating around, Lockie Neal, if they're going to get first use of the footy, they'll pinpoint targets up forward anyway. And if Cameron kicks 5+, they win it.
Yeah.
That's the
I was going to say,
It's going to hurt the Dogs. I think this ruckman. They were relying on Steph Martin coming back, and it's just not going to work. He's still out injured, and it's
Oscar
not going to make
McInerney is a far better ruckman than he gets credit for. You watch his craft; he's actually extremely good at ruck craft. Oscar.
Yeah.
and he's actually very durable too.
Yeah.
He actually gets around the ground pretty well.
He doesn't look it. I mean, he runs like a newborn camel, but he just he can at least he gets around the ground.
Yeah.
Speaking of durable, Cuz.
Yeah.
Snoozy.
What's under that beanie, mate? Give us a look.
Oh yeah.
Ahoy!
Oh yeah.
Danny Bonaducci is back.
He's Bonaducci.
Take
The
your pick,
Baducci.
Danny Bonaducci or Ralph
Conan-
Malf. Take your pick, mate.
There's a bit of Conan O'Brien going on there for me.
Yeah, Conan, absolutely.
Very
rare, isn't
it's more burgundy than your hat, I think, Dave.
I'll tell you what, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Burgundy, and yes, the Rick Astley's in the house, and the hairline. I'm very envious of that hairline, Cuz. Let me tell you. And Brisbane for mine.
Glenn, Nadia wants her cocaine back with those sunnies on. Hey, just real quick.
Can we touch on that? Can we, Nadia? What's going on there?
No, we can't. No.
That's it.
Move on.
It's one for another show.
I want to get back to the fact that there's another person that you actually look like, Glenn, for me. Fictional even.
Fictional. That's a good word, mate.
Fictional even.
Your literacy is almost as good as Az's numeracy.
Yeah, shut up. I've acknowledged it. Move on. Who remembers Mad Magazine?
Oh yeah. Alfred A. Newman.
Is there a bit of Alfred E.
man?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Righto, Alfred.
There's a lot of. There's a bit like Cars. There's a lot of spy v spy out the back of him too. I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
What about a big sauce Steve O'Dwyer maybe?
You don't want that one.
Yeah. No, he was a big man. Big Steve.
He haven't got his
Always
dinner plate years.
Played second fiddle to the great Jim Steins, but he was just one of those guys that he had an impact, no doubt. But he was a big man, big straw.
Have you got his acceptance speech after they won a game overseas?
The best thing Steve O'Dwyer did was get involved with Sports Coach, and the Demon fans flocked to see the big straw, and it was good times back in the 90s, that's for sure. Cuz, any chance of you not falling asleep here and giving us a little bit of love? Stand up,
I've been asleep.
Righto.
Shut up,
and give us a shout out, mate, to the club on that beanie you're wearing tonight.
Oh,
Tell
mate, this is the wonderful Lilydale Falcons, mate. Wonderful club that Lovey and I were involved with it this year. Have a look at Lovey. He's being an idiot. Yeah, look, like all local footy teams, netball teams, whatever, just struggling this because I think the announcement was made yesterday that all local leagues have now pulled the pin, no finals at all. No local sport, obviously, whether it's kids basketball, whatever it might be, which, as we all know, it's just shit. It's just ordinary. But look, looking forward to next year, catch up with you blokes and going to watch a bit of local footy. The four of us. Imagine us at a local footy ground somewhere. Dave can bring the pickled onions. Az can drive us in the Merc, and we'll all just rock up at a local ground somewhere.
Don't forget the cheese board, Aaron.
Yeah.
Sounds good, mate.
You will bring the cheese board.
Drop down the tailgate and we're ready to go on the back of the EJ. So it'll be good times. That's for sure. We might have to lift it out of the mud and push it back down the hill, but it'll be great fun.
Hey, there it is.
There it is.
It'll be all worth it, Az. It'll be all worth it, mate.
Oh, I look forward to going for a cruise in the EJ if the Demons win a premiership. And Dave
You
to
bloody bet, mate. I remember in 90.
Sing endlessly. It's a grand old flag down
Yeah,
there.
I remember.
streets of
I
Melbourne.
remember fondly in '93 because I had my license and my old Corolla KE30 1977 model, little ripper. I was blasting the Essendon theme song out of that thing, doing laps around Windy Hill, the family day, just chucking laps. Good times, mate. Good times.
Yeah, were you charged?
No, not quite.
Okay, that's good.
Good times indeed. So let's just have a final recap on where we're up to with the pickled onions. Obviously, we've had, I think we're at least 6 fish and chip shops in that have all reneged on the $50 purchase of the great bottle or the jar of pickle onion. So we're going to have to revert to something different, guys. I think we're going to have to do and plus this 3-week lockdown is just not going to get it done for us. So I think we're going to have to agree that Lovey and Cuz need to go out and pick up their half a dozen, and we'll have to do it live on air in the next show or so we can move on and finish the great pickled onion debate.
Agree.
We got a deal, boys?
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
Deal.
Righto. Given that I'd personally drop them off, but it's a little bit out of my 5K zone
Jurisdiction.
So, Snoozy, you might have to top up your wallet, and you might be
Snoozy.
Well, we can rename you, mate. It's just take your pick and we'll run with it.
What about he called me before? He called me Darren Berwick. That's a suburb, mate.
That's right, mate. I did that purposely.
Oh, yeah, of course you did.
Yeah.
I'd have to agree with you too, by the way. Number 8 for the Bombers, definitely a Darren Buick.
Mate, he did some damage against the Demons, that's for sure. He was a good player, very solid, that's for sure.
Wasn't hard to back then.
There was many a bomber that destroyed us, that's for sure. So let's get through the tips. Who have we got for the Lions? Well, let's finish off, even though I don't think we took a margin with the Cats and the Giants first. I won't reveal the scores yet, but just give us where you're up to.
Cats by 7. Yeah.
Lovey?
Cats by 7.
Cats by 7. Cuz?
Cats by 14.
Righto. I'll take the Cats by 21.
7 times tables.
And Dave?
GWS by 2.
Oh!
Righto.
Oh!
Hey, Lovey, what did you say? Cats by 7.
7.
Well, I reckon that's almost pickled onions, Dave, if they get up.
No,
8 minutes to go. 8 minutes to go in the second quarter. We're at Geelong up by 9 points, 24-15. So a little comeback by the GWS. They've kicked a goal. Who knows what could happen from here? Who knows what could happen? As far as who we'd like to play, we'll take them all at the moment. We're ready to go. It's our best year. It's our biggest chance. So let's move on to the Lions and the Bulldogs. Saturday night.
For the sake of your team's mentality, I reckon you'd rather Geelong than GWS. And I say that because you know you're going to have to play your very best against Geelong, whereas there could be that, if GWS limp into another prelim with another injury or two, then you can almost relax a bit too much. So for me, I reckon you'd want Geelong. Because I know Melbourne
will take Geelong. It's not often. The only thing that scares me with Geelong is we don't often beat Geelong twice consecutively, especially within weeks of each other. And I'm still a little bit worried about Danger's impact, to be honest. I think if he's the dark horse or the danger for us is Dangerfield. He can turn it on when he really wants to. And if he gets a bit of support, anything could happen. So, yeah, you're right. I think you're right, though. I would rather play Geelong versus a very quick-moving, fit, fast-running GWS, even though with a couple of players out. I'll take Geelong any day at the moment. So let's move on to, like we said, Brisbane Bulldogs. Lovey, give us a margin and a winner.
I've got the dog. I have got the. Having said what I said before, I've got the Dogs by 13 points. Experience again.
Yep, Cuz.
Lions by 10. I reckon Cameron will kick 5. He'll have a night out.
Can he kick 5 2 weeks in a row?
I think he can. Good. Well, who from the Doggies, Lovey, or you as well as, who do you think the Doggies would play on Cameron?
Probably.
Would you put the little bloke? Would you put the little bloke on him, or is that taking him away from his run and carry? Daniel.
Collins on him.
Yeah, I think so too. Yep. Look, it's going to be. He's one of those ones you have to lose. You know he's going to kick goals, and he's ones you just got to try and hold him back to less than 5. And then Danaher's going to kick some eventually. He's the one that needs to fire. If he can kick 4, Charlie can get 4. They're well on their way.
Probably the only problem for the Dogs, as I see, is if they allow the midfielders from Brisbane to run forward to kick someone. Which the thing is, they've got that ability. So Berry can, Berry clearly can, Zorko can, Neil can. They've all got the propensity to kick 2 goals a game. Yeah, correct. So that's where their goals are going to have to come from for Brisbane. I think the Dogs actually have enough weapons down back. Never said this about their key defenders over a number of years, but between Adams and Keith, they should have Danaher covered. So for me, it's going to be Smalls from Brisbane to kick all their score. If Adams and Keith can start playing remotely like what Lever may do, then that sets the Dogs up perfectly to keep the team to a low score as well as kick their own big score.
Righto.
Yeah.
Do we get a margin out of you, Snooze?
Yeah, he said Brisbane 10.
10 points.
Righto, Brisbane 10. Dave.
Bless you, Dave. Get a test, mate.
Get a test.
Brisbane 22.
All right, so we're all pretty confident Brisbane's going to get it done.
You? How much? Ads?
I think I'm going to take the Dogs. I'm hoping the Dogs can come back in it and be the another good story that's come from behind. I know they were devastated when they lost their second chance, and I think it's given a real momentum now to have a massive crack. And I think I'm going to go with a tight one. It's a 3-pointer to the Doggies.
You've got me down. Geez, Dave's about to die. Hey, you've got me down for the Dogs, haven't you?
Yeah, for 13.
Yeah, sorry, Lowy. I didn't have you on the Dogs there. So,
mate, tell me, Ez, this quality, lovely, nice little wager you had yourself last week too.
Look, to be honest, Snoozy, you fell straight into that one. If I had taken that wager, do you reckon I wouldn't have texted you the whole amount, mate? I would have at least flicked you 20. But mate, what a great bet! What a great bet that was. Someone really loaded it up. And
how good was that return, though?
Yeah, great return. Not that I'm a good punter, and neither are you, I'm led to believe. So I won't be taking too many tips off you, cuz.
I'll give you all something for tomorrow, though, if you like, though.
Righto. Is that in the get-out stakes?
Hang on a sec. Give me 2 secs.
Well, we'll come back to you in a sec, cuz.
I'm surprised it's taking you this long.
He's about to drift off the bottom of the screen. So look at him. You can't get any lower, snoozer. Quick update: Melbourne Storm got the job done tonight against the Sharks. So that's another great win, 28-16 against Cronulla. So we obviously lose 2 players to Cronulla next year, which will be interesting. So look, Storm look like they'll finish on top now and take the minor premiership. With one game tonight, which will decide that, the Panthers and the Eels, which the Panthers have kicked off and they've started on fire as well. It's got to half time, 12. They're up 12-6. So that's a very good game against Para.
The Panthers can't take the minor premiership off you now after tonight, can they?
No, I think that's it. I think they're done now. They've won that. Percentage is too high. Just to show them, good little tune-up. I think that was the classic loss they had to have. Little tune-up, and they're ready to go now. Bring back some players. They're resting a few tonight, and they'll be rolling, ready to go. So can't wait. And who would have thought my favourite two teams, both in the finals and both favourites at this stage? So,
good times.
Keep locking me down, mate. Lock me down forever.
I'll tell you what.
Keep it like this.
You know what? Just temper that a little bit. Because
they're not there yet, the Storm, that's for sure.
1999. Now, I follow the Dragons and I follow Essendon. We all know what happened to Essendon in 1999. And I've hated Melbourne Storm ever since that fateful day that my beloved Dragons played the Storm in the 99 grand final.
Remember it well.
And I thought Anthony Mundine was the best thing since sliced bread in the first 10 minutes. Then he just decided, almost like he just walked off.
It's like he checked out real early.
That bullshit penalty try that was given in the 78th minute with the Storm, I've never, ever liked you bastards ever since. And I tell you what, for a guy that lives in Melbourne, my hatred for him is extraordinary, but it's valid.
Yeah, I remember that well. The sports bar at the casino. I reckon there was me and another mate, Luke Sinclair. There was two of us there. The only two Storm supporters, I reckon, in the place, and it was pretty early days of Melbourne Storm. And Mundine just lit up the place, and he was incredible in that first half, really, but especially in that first 10 minutes. And then I think there was forward flips, back flips, the whole lot from Mundine, with try celebrations as he used to do so well. But I remember, never forget, there was this one guy, just one of those antagonists that was just all over us, just Storm of rubbish into us all game, right? That was the most sweetest victory ever. The only problem is we could never find the guy when we actually won. He'd bolted a couple of years before. So it was great times at the old sports bar at the casino.
Well, it wasn't me, and I'll tell you why it wasn't me. Because I went into the
Might have
sports
been
bar
you,
that
Lovey,
night.
actually.
No, it wasn't me because I tried to venture into the sports bar later on that night and I wasn't allowed in.
There you go. Where to from here, boys? So we're going to move to the Great Dim Sim debate. We're going to leave that one for next week. We're kicking on. I know we've left it 3 times now, so we will get to it. I promise you. Let's finish off with the disappointing news that we've lost the grand final in Melbourne, but I think it's also a fantastic opportunity to be an incredible venue in Perth, albeit after the great show they put on for the Dreamtime game this year. I think they really deserve one. What's your thoughts, boys? Does it go straight back to Melbourne as soon as possible for the year after? Or do you think there's any merit to the fact that we should finish it in Melbourne eventually, but just go around the grounds once more and give Adelaide one?
Well, I'm a man who's very black and white. I'll go first. I'm a man who's very black and white. If there's agreements in place, whether it's handshake, written, whatever, you stick to them. So there's an agreement in place for 2057 or 2059 now. The AFL Grand Final continues to be played at the MCG until such time that expires. End of story. I think it's great that Perth have put their hand up this year for it. It's good that Brisbane did it last year. The only thing I'll say about Perth is, despite the fact I think they should get a chainsaw and cut them away, the Dreamtime game looked absolutely amazing, and they really did put on a good show that night. And if they do something similar for the AFL Grand Final, then well done, awesome. It's saved the day from an actual concept perspective. I think it's great. The only reason I don't like it in Perth this year is because of their premier. He's an absolute twat. But apart from that, I think good luck to them. You know, it'll be good to have a really good spectacle. It needs it. Probably for this time around too, night grand final. There'll probably be another night grand final again or twilight. What time did they play it last year? Was it 7 o'clock, something like that?
Yeah, it was 9.
What time did they start the game tonight? Was that 5 o'clock their time they started? 5:30?
Oh, it was 7:50 our time, so yeah, 5:50 their time.
That's 10 to 6, yeah.
So, you know.
I agree with everything that Lovey said, and I would add to that just because I'm a stickler for history and I'm a stickler for the soul of the game, that so much has been ripped from the soul of our incredible Victorian-based game, that one element cannot change. It must come back to the MCG. I think it's fantastic as a matter of reality and requirement that it's going somewhere where they're going to do a wonderful job, like anyone will do with a beautiful stadium and nice lights and, a well thought program. We can do night 2. We can do a night grand final of the MCG. We'll do an incredible job, but it's got to come back. It's got to come back to the G. I wouldn't budge on that, and bring the centre bounce back as a must. You've always got to bounce the ball. It's half the reason we play our game. Where's that ball going to go? That's half the idea. If it goes over there, play on. That's what happens. No, you've got to throw it up nice and straight in the air.
I do agree with you on that rule, but I don't agree with the calling it back to throw it up. Just let it go, mate. Bounce
Let
the
it
ball.
go.
Let it go.
Wherever it
And
went.
if you've got 3 inches of water on the ground and you can't bounce the ball, fair enough. But 80% of the time, even around the ground, if it's terra firma, you bounce the ball. That's part of our game.
Yeah. You know why that rule crept in? It's a little fucking Johnny story. Everyone needs to have a fair go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I think that
No,
made
that's the whole idea of the bounce of our ball.
It's an oval ball for a reason. Yes.
The unpredictability of it. That's the whole beauty of it.
That's
Why
right.
don't they just
They
get a
bounce it,
soccer
it
ball
goes-
out, Dave? Why don't they just
That's
get a
right.
round soccer ball out and then do it like
So
that?
anyway, it's got to go back to the MCG, and that's my point about not to harp on, but playing in the rain. That's what I love about when 2:00 on a Saturday, we had 6 games going on, and everyone was copping the rain. You might cop a little bit less over there, Glenferrie Oval versus, the Junction Oval, but it was all an even playing field. That's a big anomaly of our game that's gone. We just accept the fact that, he plays it under the roof over here, and 2 kilometres away it's raining and it's windy. Okay, well that's our game. We accept it.
Yep.
Never too cold. It was never too cold to hold a can of beer in the outer either. It was
Never.
It was brilliant.
Never.
Then there was the
Waverley
great joy.
was the best for that.
Yeah, there was the great
Waverley
joy
was
of playing
awesome.
at it. The great joy of playing at Moorabbin. That wasn't an equal playing field in that mud for sure. If you remember the late part of Optus Oval back in the day as well with the Super Sopper, and they used to go out there and
that's right.
bring out just turn the mud into clay at least, and then try and get out there and play. So it was great times. The good old days of footy.
The rumour was the guy that did the Super Sopper was also the Peanuts guy that walked around the ground with a massive bag of peanuts.
There you go. I think that could be a relative of Cousins.
And my old man would drive the old EH out to Princess. He'd drive the old EH out to Princess Park with us, and we'd park in the back street, and he'd pull out the distributor cap lead so no one could steal the car. You'd take that into the bloody footy.
Fantastic. What about you, Cuz? Give us your opinion on the final, mate. What happens next?
Look, I think
are you the true Victorian, and it's coming back?
Come on, Cuz.
Look, it's got to come back. As Dave said, it's part and parcel that as long as there's an AFL competition, the AFL Grand Final, the stipulation must be it's played at the MCG. I know it's now a national competition, and there's the possibility in years to come that it may expand again. But Grand Final day, MCG. Obviously, Brisbane did a great job with it last year. WA will do a great job this year. But when all things are good and well, and hopefully things get better, MCG Grand Final day. Simple as that.
Yep.
The whole week.
That's what you sign up to.
It is. Absolutely, it is.
Yeah.
It is, absolutely. But I just think that all they did was bolt on another year on the MCG's contract, right? So we know that's not changing. They're getting their fair share up to 59 or whatever it is so far. It's crazy when you think about it. But look, we've got a couple more states that we could really, I think every state's been incredible in what they've done for footy in the last 2 years, especially. Obviously, Adelaide had a big impact on that last year. Now, so as long as an Adelaide team doesn't make the grand final, I think Adelaide should get it next year. The year after that, we push up to Sydney, and then it's back at the G. So just a bit different thinking, mate. And I love it at the MCG. Don't get me wrong. I never wanted it ever to leave the MCG. But if it means playing our great game, the likelihood of us going through another COVID period in 12 months' time, who knows, right? At the end of the day. So they should be at least eyes wide open and listening at least as well with their big ears like Dan doesn't. That anything could happen, mate. I think we need to be prepared for it. And after that, we end up back at the G and then back at the G for life.
I don't mind your concept, but as we know with COVID, it depends on which state looks like they're most likely open.
Yeah, true. True. We could be back at We could be back at Perth next year.
Yeah, but I think what you're saying is, assuming life's back to normal, do you think it would be a nice gesture and a fair thing to do to distribute it around the other states and then bring it back to the G?
Yeah. If they're really,
don't like it. Don't like it.
Where's the stage exit on this thing? Where's the stage exit? Oh, fuck,
exactly.
Get off this train.
Exactly. I actually think they've got a fantastic opportunity. That's all, to really build the national game right now in the next 2 years. They put it there. Cuz will get his wish. The AFLW will get their grand final. Cuz will be the first one there buying tickets at Optus Oval. When his Bombers get to play, which will be your first year they're in, they could play a grand final. Who knows? Who knows? All right, boys. It's been a great show. Good chat. Very good chat. Now, just to fill you in on the score update. We're at right now. We've got the Cats up by 15.
Ooh. That might be the
problem. So the Cats have come out with a little bit of a bang just before halftime there by the look of it. Yeah. 38-23. So that the score's definitely starting to open up now. So one thing I've got to finish on, Dave, is what happened during the week, mate. Fantastic effort from you in relation to your lockdown special, mate. You did. I absolutely loved it. There was a couple of fantastic moments in there, mate, with your kids singing with you. I thought that was super. I know it wasn't perfectly the script as you practiced it, but mate, what stars your kids are. And Robert Wine commented he's just got something he needs to get off his chest because he's a very intuitive man that's noticed. He's obviously picked up on your left-hand guitar playing, but unless your camera's flipped, he says your watch is worn on the same wrist. Now he makes out that lefties usually wear it on their right. So who knows, mate? He's making it up as he goes, I think. But I don't think
I appreciate his observations, and he tuned in on the live stream too, which is just
one thing
awesome.
he absolutely loved was you, mate, and your live streams, and you gave him definitely a bit of love there. So, mate, you had a truckload of viewers on, and I know you raised a few bucks.
Yeah, we did.
Tell us a little bit about what you got to, where you got to money wise, and where that lovely money went.
Yeah, look, we've done a couple of fundraisers I've done 18 of the live streams now. So starting in the car and in the studio, and I've done a couple of fundraisers, one for brain cancer, one for Fight MND, and I did another one for brain cancer, which was the one that I did during the week. So that was in memory of my sister-in-law, Lena, who unfortunately was diagnosed with brain cancer basically 2 years ago, almost to the day, and she lost her fight after 17 months earlier this year. So we got hit pretty hard. Our family, in regards to that, it came out of nowhere. She was fit and healthy, ate well and looked after herself, and it sort of it floored us all, and it's something that we're all still dealing with, in particular my brother and their two kids. So it was something close to my heart, and I put it out there, and we raised $850, which was pretty incredible. So it was really awesome. It was good stuff.
Yeah, super effort, mate.
Which is a great thing that's come out of doing these live streams. As much as I really enjoy doing them and they're good for me, people have connected with it, and people have opened their hearts at these times to do that. So I'm really appreciative and thank them very much.
Yeah, well done, mate. And we look forward to the next winding up the EJ again and doing a bit of a ACDC style back on top of the EJ. Down the street.
Yeah,
when we get an opportunity.
Yeah.
EJ, and hook up that old caravan too, mate. We're going on a road trip.
Yeah. Tell you what, we won't be able to go far. I think Coburg they've got a big four at Coburg. I think that's where we're booked in to go soon.
Beautiful. Inside your 5K zone, hopefully.
Thank you, boys.
Good to see you, mate.
Boys.
Good to see you.
Thank
We'll
you.
catch up soon.
Look forward to it. Go D's.
Go D's.
Go,
Just
mate.
quick shout out to the show we're going to do tomorrow. I'm going to do tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock. Everyone's welcome if you want to jump on. We've got a superstar Paralympian, famous Paralympian, Mr. Paul Rosen, who's a good mate of mine. This is streaming live from Canada. He's going to come on and talk about his trials and tribulations of life. And has this boy been through the ringer. And it's an incredibly inspirational story. And he's got so much to offer us. So really good opportunity that we're going to have a chat to him. And we're going to have a little bit quick chat about the Paralympics as well. So Father's Day, boys, this Sunday, I'm led to believe, and talk about new products out in the market. Have a look at this. I'm not sure if you're aware of this product, mate, but that looks like a fantastic VB bottle. And then I find out, looking a little bit deeper, thirst, long neck, all the details. And then I see that little line at the bottom. It's a fragrance. So, boys,
Oh, no.
available in the long neck. Look out. You can get your VB flavored.
So does that
cologne.
mean you get the smell? Does that mean you get to smell like a piss trough at the MCG?
It's a worry, isn't it? It's a worry.
Wow.
Like you smell like the Q Boulevard.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we might buy one of those, and that might be our prize for one of our next challenges.
Yes.
We might have to hand around the VB cologne. You have to wear it for a week.
I like it. I like it.
You know what?
All right, boys.
What's even more offensive is you have to film yourself buying the stuff.
Yeah, correct. We'll give the money to Cuz because we know he won't shout it, but he'll be the first one to get in there and buy it at Chemist Warehouse. Good on you, Cuz. Good to see you, mate.
girls. Have a good one.
Enjoy your weekend. Cheers,
See you,
boys.
All good.